Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to another broadcast of The Lawrence Report. On tonight's broadcast, we will be discussing episode 4 of Black Cake. Now, as you already know, this series right here has been taking so many twists and turns when it comes to family, right? And this was not my favorite episode. I think this episode laid a lot of groundwork for Benny's background and why she wasn't, basically attending her dad's funeral. We do find out in this episode all the reasons why she didn't attend her dad's funeral. But at the top of the show, so we see Gibbs and Covey, at the top of this show right here, and they run into each other after so many years of being lost, and she kind of tells him a little bit about her past, but not all the things about her past. And for Gibbs, he's like, "Listen, I'm glad I found you. I don't care about the past. We'll just we'll just go away together. We'll just rebuild our life, right?" And you know, he loves her so much that he even says, "I want you to marry me." And she's like, "You're crazy." But he's like, "No, I want you to marry me." And another crazy part that I couldn't believe is that they ran into um, Kovi's old friend, Edwina. Of course, she was so pessimistic and asking a bunch of questions, and I know Kovi was shocked to see her because I was shocked to see her. But like I said, Kovi wanted to escape London. She told him that we cannot live in London. So they do get married. She ends up getting pregnant as well. So I was happy to see their love story kind of finally get rekindled, right? And then we transition to the family. The family is playing a game of charades, right? And this is, when everything was kind of smooth sailing. And, there's a conversation going on about, their loved ones, like Benny's loved ones and Byron's loved ones as well. And we do meet their two loved ones, which are Steve and Lynette. And while they're playing a game of charades, Gibbs, he kind of makes a mistake of calling Eleanor Covey. Now sometimes I don't even know what to call her myself sometimes, but he makes that mistake by calling her Covey. And for her, that is a mental trigger because, previously we see that, in the previous episodes that she wants to basically bury the name Covey, right? And for her, she has to go lay down because that name, it brings, so much trauma and past hurts that she had to deal with, right? So we get to meet Byron's woman. Her name is Lynette. And, one night while they're laying in bed, she is challenging him to, ask the questions of why you didn't get the role. Like, unfortunately, he lost to a white male counterpart, and she believes that it does have something to do with race. And she even says, like, for God's sakes, like, your father was a civil rights attorney, and she wants him to basically stand up for himself. But at the same time, he's like, well, people lose out on jobs all the time. So he's really not trying to play the race card, even though his woman feels like, yeah, man, you lost out on this because of race. Like they didn't want to promote you at the top of this, of this job that you was aiming for. And it's a big argument, and he tells her basically, get out. I want to be left alone. So not only is he going through something with his lady, his sister is going through something with a female friend and a boyfriend as well. So she is basically Benny. Benny is basically bisexual. She doesn't come out to her parents until late, and she does end up inviting her mate over, her girlfriend at the time, to a family function. I believe it was Thanksgiving. And things kind of go downhill because she comes out to her parents to let them know that, you know, she doesn't want to do culinary school anymore. And her father, Gibbs, he completely goes irate. He's like, we made all these connections for you, we poured all this money into you, and what do you mean you want to just be cooking at a local cafe? Like, you're going to culinary school. And she's like, no, I want to be a artist. Like, art is my thing. Like, I didn't want to live my life for you. And at the same time, when she says that, whew, we meet a guy by the name of Steve. Steve is a director of this art gallery. And, her and Steve, they're having these conversations about a certain piece of art. And he mentions about all the things, how he can, make moves for her and make connections. And they get googly eyed. And unfortunately, he is a manipulator, right? He is a controller. And so Steve basically offers Benny like a apprenticeship at his little art gallery. And, he realizes that, she is gifted and talented, and they fall in love and they develop a relationship. So one night while they're on a date night, Benny and Steve run into Benny's old girlfriend named Joni. And Steve is kind of offended because he feels like Benny didn't really introduce them the way they should have been introduced, right? And, while they go back home, he's like, you're still in love with her, aren't you? And, Benny's like, no, like, that's one and done, it's over. And he throws like this art vase at her. And he, gets upset. And then he walks out. Then he tries to come back into her life. And, she lets him in. But at the same time, it is revealed that her father, Gibbs, aka Bert, has died. And that one night, she's like, well, I'm about to go home to see my family, consider that my father just passed. He goes crazy and says, no, you're not going anywhere. They don't care for you. They don't love you like I do. Again, this man right here is very controlling and knows how to manipulate the situation. And they get into this big argument. And, just because he has financed her, he, kind of like put a roof over her head, he feels like he has control over her. And they get into this big argument, this big fight. And again, she says, I'm about to leave, I'm going home. He says, no, you're not. And he punches her. And unfortunately, this man has completely terrorized her life now, officially. And she does end up making it to the funeral, but she doesn't go into like the main area where everybody's at. It's difficult for her to do it because, she has this big bruise over her face. So we see this scene of her sitting in a parking lot with these glasses over her eyes, covering up, the bruise. And shortly after that, she tells her brother that, I was there, but I couldn't face everybody because of the domestic violence dispute that I just got in. Fast forward to towards the end of the show, we see Coventina, she is confessing some more things, and she confesses a big, big, big bombshell that nobody saw coming. She announces that Benny and Byron have another sibling. Yeah. Just when you thought all the secrets was out, there's still more secrets that Coventina is hiding. And that's how the episode ends, basically, on a big cliffhanger. So if you're watching this right here, let me know what you think about Black Cake. I think this is one of the hottest shows on TV, to be honest with you. So I hope y'all are tuning in and watching this. I've been telling everybody about it because I feel like it is that good of a show. If you like what you saw here today, please feel free to comment, subscribe, and as always, thank you for tuning in to The Lawrence Report.